Hey guys, welcome back to the Makefile series. In the previous video, we discussed the for each function, which loops over values in a list. In this video, we're going to cover a few specialized functions that help you manipulate strings to do a specific type of task that's going to simplify your life so you don't have to use for each for everything. Now, before we move on, I'd want to point out that when I say list, really I just mean that there's one string that has white space in it that separates different words. That's all I mean by list. It's not some special type of variable. No, it's just one string with white space in it. So with that said, let's look at the first two functions that are used to modify the suffix and the prefix of a word. They're both very straightforward. Add suffix takes in the suffix and then the variable with the list. Add prefix takes a prefix and then the list. So in this case, we have the variable regions, which is Africa, Asia, and Europe. If we do add suffix .c, this expression is going to return a list of words with .c at the end. Add prefix is going to do the same with the hello prefix. So let's run the makefile and see the output. And we can see over here, the regions are Africa, Asia, and Europe. Add suffix added a .c to each one, and add prefix added the hello prefix. And typically you would use add suffix to add an extension, or you would use add prefix to add a directory. So for example, all of your object files, if you're building a C program, might go to a build directory, and you might do add prefix build for a variable that has all of your source files in it. Now over here, we're printing out the values directly, but let's move on to the next example. We can see that you can actually store that result in another variable, which we're doing over here. We're storing it in regions C, and we'll use that for the next three examples. All three of these things, they do the exact same thing. We're looking at pattern substitution, and these three syntaxes are used to substitute one pattern for another. So the first one we see is pat subst, which I believe stands for pattern substitute. The first parameter to this function is something that contains a wildcard, and here we say wildcard.c. The second parameter is going to use that wildcard or stem, and then it has .o, and then the variable that you want to operate on. So what this is going to do is it's going to take everything that ends in .c and replace them so that they end with a .o instead. And we can see that over here. So we have Africa.c, now it ends in a .o. Same for Asia and Europe. The other two syntaxes do the exact same thing. As you can see, you have the exact same result. They're just a shorthand to do it. So here you're just dereferencing the variable. You start off with the parenthesis, but before you end with with a brace, before you end with the brace, you put a colon, and then you put in the pattern you want. You say equals, and then the pattern you want to replace it with. If you don't even want to put this wildcard, you can remove that as well, and this is going to look at the suffix for an even shorter form of that. It depends on what you like. I prefer this one. I believe it's more readable and it's worth the extra length, but that's all subjective. It's up to you. Now, if you want to filter out or filter in certain patterns instead of just modifying things, you have the filter functions. So we have a dummy variable that we started off with here. Not dummy, it's an actual variable. And it has two values that are under dir1. So these might be two files under directory 1 and two files under directory 2. When we call filter with dir1 before with a wildcard, this is going to filter in anything that's under dir1. So down here we see filter dir1 gives us the two dir1 files, And if you call filter out instead of filter, it's going to remove those two. So it's going to match everything that does not belong to directory 1. So these are fairly straightforward but super powerful functions that you're going to use a lot in your sophisticated makefile build systems. So get used to them, play around, have fun, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.